Hey guys, welcome back to another review video. As you can see, I have finally finished airbrushing Nat's TRX-4 legs and body in the metallic blue color that she has chosen. What do you guys think? So originally, Nats have chosen the metallic blue as well as the metallic yellow color shift color, but at the end she asked me to just focus on using the metallic blue alone because she doesn't think having the yellow racing stripe would look good, which I think is a fair decision to make, and I think the outcome of just the metallic blue looks really stunning. So the reason why we have decided to use the airbrushing rather than the Tamiya PS paint, which comes in a rattling can, is because you get much better control when airbrushing the edges, and also the outcome of the actual color, the actual spray dots matrix is a lot finer if you are using airbrushes, which I will show you guys later on in this video. There's obviously pros and cons in using the Tamiya rattling can. You just need to make sure you pick the PS paint, and the pros for using the rattling cans is you can just go into the shop or buy online for the rattling can, and you just need to give it a good shake, keep the bottle warm, and then you can start you can start painting the legs and body from the inside. And the other thing is when you press the button for the nozzle to spray the paint, it covers quite a large area, so it takes a lot less time to complete for example 1 to 10 scale body. So very convenient if you don't have the tools and the equipment to do airbrushing. With the cons for using the rattling cans is obviously it covers a large surface area, which means you have less control to do the detailing, and also one of these 1 to 10 scale legs and body would normally take about one whole can of the rattling can, which is quite a lot of paint. Whereas when you're using airbrushing, I only use 2 of these. I mean, these 2 are still full, they're new. The 2 that I used on the body, they are completely emptied. But if you take a look at the label, this metallic blue paint X13, this is only 10 mil. So to use 2 of these, that's only 20 mil of metallic paint compared to the entire rattling can, albeit you probably have a little bit of paint left after painting the entire legs and body, but the amount of paint you use is a lot more, and also the outcome, it won't be as smooth comparing to the airbrush. Obviously, if you're just painting like a flat color or a single gloss color, then you probably won't be able to tell the difference. But if you're using metallic paint, using the airbrush will give you a finer and smoother finish. In a sec, I will show you the body close-up, then you can see the details. So those are the pros and cons for using the rattling can by Tamiya or any other brand, to be honest. But for Nat's TRX-4, I have decided to do a slightly better detail outcome, so I use my own airbrushes. So started off, I used a 0.3 mil output airbrush. I've done pretty much the first 2 layers with this, and then I moved on to this Infinity CR Plus, which I have set it to 0.4 mil output. I mean, you could select it all the way to 0.6, and the smallest is 0.1, but I've selected to 0.4, which is a bit larger than the first airbrush I used. Basically, I used this to cover a larger surface area on the third, 4th, and 5th layer, And basically using this with these slightly larger output, I managed to cover the entire body after about 5 layers of paint. And then to finish the job, I use this one, which is a Fangda brand airbrush, and this one is 0.5 mil output. And I use this for a reason, because I use this to airbrush the primer to cover this metallic blue from the underside, so you can see through the window. The inside is actually a primer color, which is this. So with the primer, because the particle inside, they are a lot thicker, so if you use a normal 0.3 or anything below 0.3, you probably end up experiencing the clogging at the tip, and then you'll find that when you press and pull the button or the trigger, it will start to spit rather than giving a smooth airbrush. So you need to use one with the larger output for the primer. And also with the metallic blue 5 layers airbrush, you need the primer at the back, just so it will show the metallic color better, rather than, you know, just airbrush the metallic blue and then you leave it. The color won't be as vibrant. I hope that makes sense. And for me to mix up the X13 metallic blue with the X20A thinner, I used the 2:1 scale. So 2 parts of the X13 mixed with 1 part of the X20A, and then start airbrushing, and you will get this result. And the primer, I use this one. I mean, there are loads of different kind of primer that you will be able to find from your hobby store or online, so it doesn't have to be this one. I just happen to have this in hand. And obviously you need to make sure you keep all your airbrushes clean afterwards, otherwise you won't be able to get the smooth airbrushing next time. So always keep your pen clean, and I can strongly recommend you to use the airbrush cleaner to clean up all the parts inside the airbrush. So you need to wash the cylinder or the cup, obviously, and then make sure you strip the tips, the pins, and wash the entire airbrush thoroughly, and let it dry before you put it away, and then next time you can enjoy airbrushing again. So the reason why it has taken me a while to get this TRX-4 done is not because I have to take my time to airbrush the body. It is mainly because, if you remember, in my last video or the latest video of Nat's TRX-4, I was waiting for this part, which is the steering link for the front. Previously, I have to fit another steering link at the bottom end, because the pivot ball, it just won't fit, even though it comes by, well, it's come with the Yar Racing steering link, and it comes with the pivot ball. It just won't fit into this steering knuckle. So the dimension of that pivot ball that is attached to the Yar Racing steering link is not the right size. So make sure when you do upgrade your steering link and you decide to go for the Yar Racing one, do take a measurement of the gap for your steering knuckle. So just to show you guys, the one that comes with the Yar Racing steering link, which is this one, and this is the code for it, so you can use it as a reference. And it comes with the pivot ball, which is this one. And let me show you why these one won't fit. I actually removed these two from the Yar Racing steering link and have to change them out to the one that I bought after. So let's zero this. Okay, and then This is about 7.45 millimeter, and this one is a little bit too thick to go into the steering knuckle. So the one that you need is this one. I managed to find it on AliExpress. It's a shame you have to buy quite a lot of them, even though I only need 2, but I'm sure I'll be able to use them as spares over time. And to show you guys the dimension of it, this one is about 6.3 mil. So clearly the ones that come with the Yar Racing package is too thick to be able to fit inside the knuckle. You need to have the 6.3 mil pivot ball in order to get those steering link to work. So these two slightly larger one that comes with the Yar Racing is no good. So here you can see the new pivot ball. It fit in between the top and bottom bar nicely. So that's the reason why it has taken me so long to record this video, is because I was waiting for this part to arrive, and it has to come from China, so it takes about 7 to 10 days. But that's okay, because that gave me time to finish up the rest of the chassis and also to airbrush the Laxan body as well. So that's all of those stuff that I have used. Next, you might be able to find this online or from Amazon. This is just a reamer. You will need something like this. It comes with marking, so you know how big of the hole you are drilling, and you basically need this reamer to drill those holes to mount the body. I've got one which is Huddy. There are loads of different brands. A lot of the other ones which are a lot cheaper. This one is branded, so it cost me a little bit more. And that's pretty much the only tool that you will need to drill the hole on the Laxan body. I mean, obviously there's other tools that you could use or improvise to drill the hole, but one of these reamer doesn't cost that much and it will do a really good job. So this is the outcome of Nat's carbon fiber TRX-4, which has everything that she has chosen, from the wheel, the tire, the carbon chassis, carbon fiber chassis, to the body and the paint that we've used on the body. So this crawler is very heavy, so let me just remove the pin and then I could just show you the Laxan body. That's Alexa talking in the background, thinking I was talking to her. Right, so the body, there's not much I have done compared to the last video. It is pretty much what you have seen in the last video, and it is still running on the Fusion SE brushless motor, which is a very powerful motor. And if I get a chance later on in this video, I will show you a short running footage of this. Now coming back to the Laxan body, I already have some fingerprint on it, but that's okay. So here you can see the surface area is very, very smooth. The metallic paint is actually really, really good. You can see there are some dots around with the bigger dots. That's because when I was using the first airbrush, which is the 0.3 mil airbrush, with the metallic paint, it did clog the nozzle a little bit, so it did spit a little bit that you could see on the body, and that's when I realized I need to change to a airbrush that has a larger output, but it is not too obvious, luckily. And here you can see this top layer is done with the Infinity CR Plus airbrush, so it's a lot smoother and cleaner. Here you can see there's marking there, but that's because I've stuck the tape on the underside to stop the servo from rubbing the body, but you can't really see it if it is not directly under spotlight. And you can see the powder of the metallic paint is very, very fine. So if you are into model building, I can strongly recommend you this Tamiya X13 metallic blue. If you want to airbrush your model car, the fine powder will make it more scale. So this is the result of using airbrush, and I've kept the front and the two front side window clear, and I've attached the rear window or rear side and the rear window with the sticker. I'm sure over time this sticker, they will start to peel, but then I would just peel them back, and then you'll see the full clear windows all around. And there is one of my own sticker, just to show that I've done this body myself. I might even sign it. And here, this is what I mentioned by putting the primer on the back, just so the color would show up better. Originally, I did think of using the black or matte black paint to back the blue, but then something tells me the color might turn out to be really dark, and then I decided to use the primer. So now it has the kind of white insert or inside. I might still be able to, actually it's a bit too late now because I already peeled back the window. If I haven't done so and these windows are still covered, I probably would back it again on top of the primer. Is a layer of matte black, then it won't affect the brightness of the blue, and at the same time I won't leave the white inside. I think I would prefer the inside to be a darker color, but that's okay. The other thing is you can see those lines and marks which the primer didn't manage to cover the metallic blue. It's because even though I've given the metallic blue color about an hour to dry, air dry, but because the UK weather is quite wet at the moment, and it's also we have the really cold weather, and obviously with airbrushing I need to have the window open for the air ventilation, even though the air box has got the suction. But you know, with the cold weather, it is not recommended to do airbrushing, and this is the result, which is not ideal. But luckily it didn't affect the paint from the outside, so I would just turn a blind eye on this and pretend I didn't see anything. So this is the body, and I think it looks really well with the TRX-4 carbon chassis. So let me just put it aside, and I will show you guys the A quick comparison between the 1 to 10 scale rock crawler and the 1 to 10 scale touring car that I've built recently. I haven't built the second one as yet because I haven't had time, but this is the 1 to 10 scale touring car. It's a TTO2. It is a fairly basic touring car that you built. I really enjoyed the build. It was really fun. I like building Lego when I was younger, so I like building things. And also building one of these means you will get to understand all the parts, how it works together in terms of the touring car, and also like this one, the crawler, I built this from scratch as well. So, you know, after a few runs, if there's anything that is broken or needs maintenance, I will know exactly what to do and what parts I need to get to replace. And it is the same for the touring car. It might look a little bit more complicated than the crawler, but trust me, it is not. They are fairly straightforward, pretty easy to understand. With this one, I have done some upgrades, and the upgrades are what you see in metallic blue. So they are mainly the rear and the front oil shocks or the damper. I've changed the main propeller shaft as well as the propeller cup. There's one at the front, one at the rear, and also the TRF servo horn. And obviously you buy your own electronics, but this car, the touring car TTO2, does come with the torque tune motor. I just added the cooling fan, and the ESC comes with the motor and the car, so I don't need to buy that. I just need to buy the cooling fan, the receiver, and the servo. But there will be a separate video where I will go through the entire TTO2 again with the airbrush body. I still haven't decided what color to put on the Evo 5 body, but stay tuned. You will find out in the upcoming video. So, sorry, that was the comparison in terms of size. So 1 to 10 scale touring car, 1 to 10 scale rock crawlers. And the wheels, you can see they are fairly different. Touring car has got much smaller wheel, and also the suspension travel on the rock crawlers is quite a lot compared to the touring car. Okay, so what's next to show you on the rock crawlers? Nats is pretty happy and impressed with her rock crawlers. She liked the chassis. She definitely is a big fan of the carbon fiber and the aluminium parts, and she obviously liked the wheels that she picked herself, and now she's very happy with the metallic blue color on the Lexan body as well. So happy days. What I will show you guys now, I guess, is the running footage. I mean, I'm not going to take this out to the park and try to find some rocks to crawl because it's so damn wet outside. So what I would do is I'll strap the battery, and then I'll show you, or I'll demonstrate the power of the Fusion SE motor. It is fairly similar to the Fusion 2-in-1 motor that I have in my TRX-4 Defender. So bear with me 1 second. I will just find a battery for the crawler. Be right back. Okay, I am back with some spare tires. So let me turn on the radio transmitter and the rake. Here we go. So let's test the steering. So it is working, and test the motor forward, backward. You can hear that the forward moving the motor spin faster, and the reverse is slightly slower. So you can set that on your transmitter, so you can set the forward motor speed to 100% and then limit the reverse power to whatever you want really. I've set mine to about 75, so it's a bit slower to go backward and it's faster to go forward. So that means all the electronics are working and we are good to go. So I'm running a 6-cell nickel metal hydride for the time being because my LiPo batteries are currently being charged, so doesn't matter, it will still work, just that the LiPo batteries normally runs it gives you longer runtime, depends on the capacity, but the LiPo battery will give you a kind of more steady output. Rather than using nickel metal hydride, the power would drop pretty much from the get-go. But nevertheless, let's try it out. Actually, before that, let me show you with the Fusion SE motor, you can really turn the motor or the wheels really slowly. So let me demonstrate, see how slow I could get this going. Let's see if I can get that even slower. That is very slow spin, and then any less than that it will stop. So I think the slowest is about this. How about that? It is so slow, but it is still spinning. And the beauty of the Fusion SE or the Fusion Pro, or if you have the previous version, which is the Fusion 2-in-1, they all have this technology called FOC. So the wheel will spin at a constant speed without stalling. So if you buy a kind of standard motor or the cheap motor, if you don't give it enough turn, or if you're trying to climb something really steep, the motor would stall, whereas the Fusion SE or Fusion Pro, etc., they will just keep on turning the wheel to try to get over the obstacle. So let me demonstrate by climbing over my spare tires here. Maybe I'll start from the front so you guys can see it. So this is the spare wheels right here, and I'll try to get the TRX-4 to climb over it slowly. Need a different angle, like that possibly. Okay, so let's try it. Very well. Now let's reverse back. Very cool. So let's try the really slow crawl on the obstacle and see how well it climbed without stalling. So I would just press down the tire so they won't shift, and I will climb it with the very slow speed. Let's try to get it as slow as possible. I'll try try to get it even slower. So the wheels are still spinning, but at a very steady, slow pace. And there's a lot of power going from the motor to the wheel to keep those wheels spinning. It's a very impressive motor, to be honest. And you see the wheel stopped for like half a second. That's just because I'm doing it manually by pulling the trigger very gently. And obviously if you use your slightly advanced transmitter, you can set the trigger from 0 to 100 and you can get the really steady slow crawl like that, and the wheel will be constantly spinning. And the beauty of using this kind of motor is not, let me stop the rig, not just when it's climbing up, it will be constantly rotating slow speed to climb over the obstacle. And also if you're going downhill, it will apply the drag brake force so that the wheel will still be rotating at the same speed, rather than the momentum would pull the rig down by spinning the wheel faster. The motor will stop the wheel from spinning fast, so the rig will still be going downhill at a very slow and steady pace. So I'll try and demonstrate this by reversing the rig and see if I could get it to come down the wheel slowly. See it? Now the tire would normally drop straight down, but it is still in control. It's pretty impressive. So let's try and climb something more technical. Let's say we wanted to climb this wheel, and I'll try to climb it at a fairly slow speed. There's a lot of force coming from the wheel and I can feel it on my hand. There you go. Let's go back down. The whole climbing process is very controlled. So let's try and climb my fist. Trying to find traction, and once it has the grip, it will just crawl upwards and down. Right, a little bit more power to roll. There you go. Very powerful motor. Turn that off and turn off the radio transmitter. So that was a quick demonstration on the Fusion SE motor. I hope that gives you some sort of indication on how strong this motor is. You don't need to buy the Fusion Pro. It's a lot cheaper to buy the Fusion SE. It's about half the price. But then if you want finer control, you will need to get the Pro version. But for most of the crawlers, the Fusion SE is more than enough, and you will have tons and tons, hours after hours of fun with this motor. And this motor is very reliable. You definitely enjoy the really slow but high torque crawling from this motor to turn those 4 corners. And I can strongly recommend the Fusion SE and the Fusion Pro. They are both really good motors. And I think that is pretty much it that I want to show you guys in this video. It is mainly to show you the finished Laxan body and to show you the kind of a bit of performance of the actual Fusion SE motor. hope you guys enjoyed this build, and when we have time and when the weather is a bit nicer, then I will go out with a few of the crawlers with gnats, and then hopefully I'll be able to get some crawling footage to share with you guys. But until then, enjoy building your crawlers or the touring cars and collecting your model cars as always. And if you like the video, please give me a like and keep following my YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed, do consider to subscribe to my channel as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.